Hey, hi, how are you? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever and wherever it is that you decided to watch this video, and welcome back to Countdown to Shadows, the series in which I talk about the mainline Assassin's Creed franchise all the way up to the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about Assassin's Creed Unity. Where do I even begin with this game? Yikes. This is the one, right? This was the one that I was waiting to talk about. This was the game of 2014. This is the most, like AC3, this was the most anticipated game of the year. This was, I think, the biggest launch of 2014. And I remember by this point I was already a fan of the franchise, so I was looking at all the things released for this game, the trailers, the gameplay, the previews, and all that. And much like everyone, I was hyped for this game. I didn't have an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 at the time, but I was hyped. I was a fan of the franchise. This was going to be one of those games that was like, oh, you need an Xbox One, you need a PlayStation 4 to play this game. This was the game. This was the most ambitious title. This was the most revolutionary title of the franchise of the year. And and this is the game that's gonna sell you on the next generation of hardware. And I was there when all those promises were being made, and I was there when I heard the horror stories of this game's launch. Oh my god, the amount of times I've heard how absolutely buggy this game was, the amount of times I've heard people saying this is the most disappointing title of 2014. It was so embarrassing for Ubisoft. It was so absolutely bad that as an apology, Ubisoft had to cancel this game's season pass and give away this game's expansion for free to everyone when that thing launched. And they also gave Chronicles China for free if you had the season pass, but that's another story. But I remember hearing that and I was like, oh my god, this is embarrassing. And thankfully it didn't happen again, and they didn't have to cancel a season pass and give away an expansion for free. Thankfully it didn't have to happen again. right? But yeah, that was so embarrassing. And again, I didn't have an Xbox One at the time, so I didn't have an opinion for a while on the game. It wasn't until Christmas of 2014 when I finally got my Xbox One, along with three games. It was Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Halo the Master Chief Collection, which and of course Assassin's Creed Unity. Those were the games that I got from my Xbox One way back when. I still have that Xbox One, now that I realize. But those were the three games, and once I started playing Assassin's Creed Unity, during the time I was like, yo, this is a great game, this is an amazing game, screw the haters, this is one of the best. And the years went by, more games came out, and now it is 2025. It has been over 10 years since the launch of AC Unity, and what do I think about this game? Well, I don't hate it. but I also don't like it either. I have a love-hate relationship with this game. And the more I get away from it, the more and more I grow to dislike this game. And there's plenty of reasons. On the gameplay side of things, yes, this is a big evolution and revolution of the AC franchise with a focus on harder combat, a greater focus on social stealth, and a greater focus on the parkour. And I'll say this, let's get the good out of the way. This game is beautiful. This, even to this day on Xbox One, with the laughable 900p resolution in this game, and I'm playing it on Xbox Series X, which is has the game boosted to 60 FPS, which, by the way, Ubisoft, give this game a 4K 60 update. It's long overdue. Anyways, this game is beautiful. Paris is gorgeous. It is an amazing recreation of French Revolution Paris. And, this is one of the best looking games of the console. But, gameplay wise, I know that a majority of the bugs for this game has been fixed. But this is the most jankiest game in this franchise, even jankier than Assassin's Creed 3. Combat is fine, but it's difficult for wrong reasons. Stealth is completely broken in this game. The cover-to-cover system just does not work properly, and it's too sticky for me. And the parkour, the main selling point, the main thing that you will see gameplay of on YouTube if you search this game up, the parkour, which at times can look amazing, just doesn't work. It is baffling because it is floaty, it is heavy, it is sticky, it is unresponsive, it is loose, it just does not feel good. The parkour in this game just doesn't feel good. And it has a lot of great animations, but at the same time you can see certain jumps and certain ways in which Arno climbs in this game just feels floaty. It feels like you are Spider-Man most of the time, which with the way he just climbs up walls and stuff. It just doesn't feel good a lot of the times, and when it does, it's so few and far between that I just don't bother, man. And that's just on the gameplay side. I do not like this game's story. This has to be the weakest narrative in this entire franchise. I have my problems with Assassin's Creed 1. I have my problems with Assassin's Creed 3. But at least they knew how to tell their story. Unity does not know how to tell its story. There is multiple layers to this story, and the game doesn't know on how to focus on each and every single one of them. There is an Assassin Civil War in this, and there's an Assassin Civil War subplot. There's a Templar Civil War subplot. There is the peace treaty between the Templars and the Assassins, trying to make peace on each of their side. There's the French Revolution. There's also a love story, a Romeo and Juliet love story. And this game just does not know how to write and intertwine each and every single one of these subplots, because none of them get time to simmer, to get time to develop. And there's 12 sequences in this game. There are 12 chapters in this game, and yet this still feels like they are rushing through the story. This story feels short. This story feels fast. This story feels underdeveloped, and you can tell in the depiction of the French Revolution and in the depiction of this Romeo and Juliet subplot. The French Revolution is barely in this game. It is not a presence at all. The trailers make this game seem like Arno is an active participant in the French Revolution. The cinematic trailer, which is a well-made cinematic trailer, shows Arno along with the civilians of Paris storming the Bastille. And in the game, you don't storm the Bastille, you're escaping the Bastille. And Arno just has no role in the French Revolution. He has no role in all. He's not even an onlooker. The French Revolution is happening, sure, but the French Revolution is such a background presence that you can just take the story that this game is telling, place it like the main story beats, place it in any other side history in the world, and nothing changes. You know, in AC3, Connor is Forrest Gumping his way through the American Revolution, but at least the story can't happen without the French Revolution. This game's story can't happen without the French Revolution. And the Romeo and Juliet subplot, the main story, I guess you can say, the one aspect that the developers pointed out in this game on how it differentiates itself from the main franchise, it also barely gets developed. Elise is barely in this game. You know, after the first sequence, she just disappears. She is nowhere to be seen, and it doesn't take until like almost to the end of the halfway point where she suddenly comes back, and this love story, it just suffers. This love story suffers because the Romeo and Juliet subplot just is not present. It is not developed at all. And it's so baffling how they wanted this game to be a love story, but they barely focused on the love story. And since the main focus was on the love story, the French Revolution takes a backseat. But because the love story is not developed, the French Revolution is also not developed. So this game story is a whole bunch of nothing. It's nothing. And it's worse because of the modern day, which is also the worst modern day in this entire franchise. Because your main goal in the modern day, which barely shows anything at all, is you having to look for the skull or the remains of the main antagonist of this game. And once they find the location of the remains, it's in the catacombs. And so they say, oh, it's in the catacombs, so you know, we're it doesn't matter, it's all fine and dandy. And so at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. This story doesn't matter in the end. And that is so baffling. This is the worst that it gets with the modern day. And it is so incredible that this game ended up the way it is. Again, this game is beautiful. At times when the gameplay works, it can be fun, but the majority of the time, it just doesn't. And the story is so jumbled and so unfocused that at the end, it just doesn't matter. And I've spent like close to 14 minutes talking about this game. This is definitely the worst Assassin's Creed game in this franchise, and because of the horrible, absolutely god-awful launch of this game, it sent ripples into this franchise that makes it change forever from what we know, with the biggest consequence being the game that comes after this. But that is it for this video. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on Assassin's Creed Unity? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss more episodes of Assassin's Creed Counting Down the Shadows. And I'll see you all next time with Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I'll see you all then.